of the Mayor and Common Council of March 14th, 2022. May I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Been a motion by Mr. Cavacci and a second by Ms. Gilbert. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The ayes seem to have it and the ayes have it. The minutes are approved. Before we go on with the regular agenda, we're going to take a few minutes out of order to hear from Mr. Andrew Vanderstuyf, who is the Assistant Vice President for Facilities Management at McDaniel College. Mr. Vanderstuyf is here to discuss the upcoming inauguration of President Julia Jaskin, I believe. Please, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor, Council President, Council. Thank you very much, Council members. Just wanted to again bring attention to the inauguration of President Julia Jaskin, who's officially being installed as the president on August the 9th. April the 9th. On June 1st, Dr. Jaskin became the 10th president of McDaniel College and the second female president in the college's 150-year history. As we approach the inauguration weekend, McDaniel College is hosting a lot of events that are open to the public. And we look for participation from the local community. On Thursday, April the 7th, there is a spoken word event in Alumni Hall, which begins at 7 p.m. On Friday is on April the 8th, there is an inaugural academic symposium from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Probably more exciting and open to the community on Friday night will be a movie night at McDaniel, followed by some fireworks on Friday night. That begins at 6:30 p.m. and that's at the Kenneth R. Gill Stadium. The movie being shown is Zootopia, and that'll be followed by the firework event. And also on Saturday, April the 9th is the actual installation ceremony, which will be at the Gill Center at 3:30. So thank you very much. For more and more detailed information, please look at our website, which is mcdaniel.edu/inauguration. Thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you. Well,
Thank
we're
you.
all looking forward to Dr. Jaskin's inauguration. I'm attending. I'm sure many of my colleagues are. And we're very excited about her tenure as president. Thank you. All right. Moving on. We have two items on the consent calendar this evening. I have a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Motion to approve. Second.
Then a motion by Mr. Dayhoff and a second by Mr. Hoff. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The ayes seem to have it and the ayes have it. And the consent calendar is approved. Report from the mayor, Dr. Becker.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think we'll have some pretty heavy committee reports. I'll keep mine short this evening. Just on March 22nd, which was last week, I held a small community meeting at 45 West Main Street about the pool. It was a very small group, but Mrs. Gruber did a great job with the presentation. And we had a lively discussion about the pool and the construction thereof and what that will look like over the next year or two with the residents that showed up. It also generated, I posted some pictures on social media, which also generated a lot more interest as well, with some individuals asking some follow-up questions about the pool. I want to say also a thank you to Ms. Imholz. Again, Mrs. Gruber, myself, we have worked with McDaniel College to put together a solution for the Stingrays this summer where they'll be able to practice at McDaniel College since they won't have the city pool to practice at. And that contract is being finalized as we meet, I will say this evening, and hopefully that will be underway. So that's all I have, Mr. President. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Move on now to reports from standing committees. By the way, I'm sorry, I missed the full meeting. I was out of town. On business,
I did make apologies
noted,
for,
I appreciate
yes,
that.
for
And,
those who were not there.
thank you for doing that. I think these community meetings that you're holding on some of these issues that are out there, I think are very helpful. And I think from what I hear, people appreciate the fact that they get the chance to come there.
The more information we can provide.
Absolutely. So good job on that.
Thank you.
Reports from standing committees will begin, as we always do, with our liaison to the Arts Council, Mr. Dayhoff.
Thank you, Mr. President. The 15th annual Peep Show will take place from April the 8th through the 18th. It's going to be Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. and Sunday from 12 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. The admission is free. And it just brings in thousands and thousands of people to the city of Westminster. Much more information on programmatically. The Arts Council is doing a great job for us. Much more information on the Carroll County Arts Council.org website. It's a very good website. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. DeHoff. Economic and Community Development, Mr. Hoff.
Mr. President, the only thing I have to announce is that this Wednesday, March the 30th, we have a committee meeting at 3:30 p.m., which will be in person at 45 West Main.
All right, thank you. On behalf of the Finance Committee, I'll report that budget work is well underway. The committee will be meeting to have a conversation with the city administrator to discuss Thursday to discuss some of the broad outlines, larger issues that are involved, and we'll give her a little more time to get some work done before we get down into the weeds at our subsequent meeting. She is still in the search for a finance director. I'll let her address that later. But, we're plugging away and looking forward to starting to grapple with some of these issues. Personnel Committee, Ms. Gilbert.
Nothing to report tonight.
Thank you. Public Safety Committee, Mr. Kavachi.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a number of items. Westminster Police Department participated in a large-scale narcotics operation on Wednesday, March 23rd, which included the services of the federal criminal indictments, the service of 14 residential search and seizure warrants, and the recovery of criminal evidence. This was a great collaboration between the Carroll County Drug and Firearms Trafficking Task Force, which is comprised of the Westminster Police Department, the Carroll County Sheriff's Office, and the Carroll County State's Attorney's Office. Also involved in this, of course, was the Maryland State Police, the FBI, and the U.S. Attorney. It was a huge deal. I mean, it's probably one of the biggest police operations that has taken place here in the city in my tenure on council, which is pretty lengthy, and as my tenure as the chair of public safety. And I'm really proud of the work that the chief did to push this through. There has been a lot going on for many months, if not years. We don't really know because we're not privy to all the behind the scenes information. A lot of it's secret and classified, but all along as things seem to be heating up, the chief kept assuring us that things were happening and they were working on it. And boom, 300 police officers were involved in this, if I'm not mistaken, chief. So there were 300 police officers involved in this operation, and it was a big deal. They made some good quality arrests with lots of good evidence. And I think we're going to see some dealers do some significant time, hopefully. Now we just need the judicial side of the organization to do its part, which of course we have no control over. But I think Westminster Police Department should be commended for the role they played in this, which is a significant role. And I hope that it sends the right message to folks not from this area, that this isn't an area to come ply your trade, go somewhere else, because we take it serious and we don't look the other way. And I'm proud of the work that you and your staff did, Chief. I know I speak for everybody up here. Thank you very much. Couple of other things, Mr. President. Detectives continue to follow investigatory leads on the Family Fitness Center burglary and the related malicious destruction of property crimes. I know they're working on that. The chief had the opportunity to promote two officers, Tuska and Rojas, to PFC after they finished their first year probationary period. So great work. The department hosted 3 police captains from other Maryland municipal police departments who filled roles as assessors and scenario-based oral board promotion process exercise for several of our sergeants and lieutenants who are competing in this promotion process. It's one step in the process. And it's nice that the chief and his staff have the ability to bring these folks in from the outside and get them to help with that. And then lastly, Chief Will Ledwell participated alongside Sheriff Deweese in the Annapolis police plunge down at the Special Olympics. So Sheriff Deweese actually did get in the water this time. Okay, good. Not like the dunk booth, right? Well, that's great. Well, good. So that's my report, Mr. President.
All right, thank you, Mr. Kavachi. And go ahead and do the Public Works Committee as well.
Thank you, Mr. President. Paving is complete on Hobbits and South Hills, West Main Street extended and Cemetery Road, and they'll start Monday on Longwell Surface Lot in front of City Hall and the key lot behind City Hall, weather dependent. I'm assuming the weather did not allow for that to start?
No, it's.
It's actually happening?
It started
Oh,
today, yes.
You know what? I haven't been down there. I drove straight in from the back. Okay, good. ADA sidewalk work is complete for the year. Center Street storm drain outfall repair is scheduled to start mid-April. Material availability is controlling construction start, like it's controlling so much in many things, including my business. City Hall roof slate is complete. Standing seam sections to be completed next week, and material deliveries controlling completion of that as well. I&I preliminary work, cleaning and televising is complete. The lining and repair material has been ordered. And a water shutdown for Uniontown Road and Paris Ridge Avenue to be to the valve for a valve bolt replacement project went smoothly, which is great. And there were no citizens' complaints, which I think giving them heads up and all that certainly plays a role in that. So nice work, Mr. Glass. Please thank your staff for that. That's all I have, Mr. President.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Kalachi. Recreation and Parks, Mr. Dayhoff.
I'd like to thank the mayor and the Director of Recreation and Parks for the community planning meeting for the pool. It was done extremely well. And I'm really tickled with the out-of-the-box creative approach to the swim team. Because I had received quite a number of inquiries about the fate of the pool from the swim team. And Mr. President, I'd like to yield the rest of my time to the co-chair of the Recreation and Parks Committee, Councilwoman Gilbert, because I was not able to make it to the March 16th Recreation and Parks Council Committee meeting. Take it away, Ms. Gilbert.
We had a meeting March 16th. There was a discussion on future parks in the city, along with facility capital projects. The Durbin House project was discussed. Concrete is currently, well, I don't know about currently because it's a little chilly, but currently being poured in a crawl space, and the project continues to move forward, allowing the structure to continue to be remodeled, along with allowing its historical aspects to remain intact. So we are looking forward to seeing that continue. The Streets Department is also working on cleaning up around the facility. The Westminster Pool is, as the mayor talked to us earlier, continuing with its design meetings every 2 weeks. Our director is meeting with the design committee, and it is in full progress as a great new project. We also had a community pool meeting, which we also discussed last week. It was well done by Ms. Gruber, and I think everyone was happy that the Stingrays have now found a temporary home over the summer. It was a win-win partnership for both the city and McDaniel College. I know a lot of people are looking forward to 2023 with the opening of the new pool, but also 2024 as that year will showcase the new addition of the new aquatic area and the lap pool. So we're going to have 2 nice years of new projects in the swimming pool arena. The fitness center locker project is moving forward, and we are waiting for the lockers to come in and be installed. Ms. Gruber, anything else for you to add, or would you like to wait till later?
I'll add it during my report.
Okay, cool. That's all I have.
All right, thank you, Ms. Gilbert. Now I have nothing from the Technology Committee tonight. Now it's time for council comments and discussion when council members get the opportunity to share anything that's on their minds that is not a committee report or elsewhere on the agenda. But before we do that, I would just want to mention that in the excitement over hearing about Dr. Jaskin's inauguration, I neglected to mention that we are pleased to have with us former Mayor Joe Dominic. Mr. Mayor, nice to see you tonight. Thanks for coming out. All right. So now we'll begin with citizen comments. Mr. Hoff.
No.
Council comments.
Council comments. Council comments.
You take a week off and.
I know.
like,
Man, we'll miss one
I
meeting.
know, I know.
What's the hell with that?
I know. Sorry, Mr.
Maybe
Hoff.
need a longer vacation.
I will give you a quick update regarding the highway user revenue bill. It did pass the House It is now over on the Senate side, but has not gotten out of committee yet, which is not necessarily a bad thing. The hearing is actually tomorrow, so I will continue to keep you all posted on that. The third reading in the House passed 138-0, so I would say that's a positive sign. So we'll continue to keep an eye on that and keep our fingers crossed. And then I just wanted to kind of follow up regarding the public safety report. I was incredibly impressed with all the collaboration that took place behind the scenes. And obviously, we're limited in what we do know, but we do have a sense that things are being done and taken care of. And at times I know some citizens have expressed frustration to me personally, and I have assured them, while we can't always share, and what we do know is very limited anyway, but I have assured everybody who's talked to me that we are very concerned about these kind of activities in our city, and that it is very important to us. And I think what just took place last week demonstrates how important that is to us as electeds and also for the police department. So I'm kind of glad that has finally come about, that it becomes more obvious to the community that we take these kind of matters seriously, and that we will definitely continue to keep these kind of things very seriously. So that's my only follow-up comment regarding that. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Huff. Mr. Cavacci.
Mr. President, just quickly thank the mayor for doing a good job communicating with the community. You've had a couple of these meetings here recently, one related to the Green Street deal and this one with the pool. So I think that's important. And it reflects well on all of us. So greatly appreciate that. Thank you. That's all I have, Mr. President. I'm sorry.
Ms. Gilbert.
I have a couple things. As the council liaison with the Magic Board, I wanted to update the council and the community with a few things. MDOT is considering holding their semi-annual meeting for the Connected and Autonomous Vehicle Working Group. It looks like it will be potential of 300 members coming to Westminster. So that's going to be great for our local businesses. And that'll probably be in August or September if that continues to move forward. It's going to align with the tentative second annual Westminster Autonomous Vehicle Showcase. The MDOT staff will also be visiting Westminster May 16th from 10 to 1 for a tour of various facilities in Westminster that will be capable of hosting their meeting, including the large meeting room at the Exploration Commons. The esports arena master design has been completed. Mr. Dodge is beginning outreach work on the development plan, and it appears that the Ravens will be interested. Maybe, we'll see. More to come on that topic, I'm sure. And as many people have seen, the office for Magic is now fully furnished, equipped, and being used as a front on our main street. And I think all of us agree we're kind of happy to see them with a storefront accessible to folks, and their presence adds to the block. So that's a good plus for all of us. And in addition, there was a MML meeting on March 17th in Manchester. I, along with Councilman Dayhoff and City Administrator Ms. Impulse, attended. It was pretty much a normal MML meeting. There was one thing that came out of the meeting though, and it had to do with regarding the County Police Accountability Board. There was a little bit of discussion on that, and I'm sure there's going to be more discussion to follow. But a few municipalities wanted to make their thoughts known that night. So there was probably 10, 15-minute discussion on that topic. So see how that plays out in the future. That's all I have.
But thank you, Mr. President. Can
Mr. Cavacci.
I ask a question?
Sure.
What was there, were they pro or con?
I think what most people wanted to make sure we were all that there's representation from the cities on the board.
As opposed to just being county.
Yes,
That makes sense.
That's more the importance of what the discussion was.
Thank you. Thank you for indulging me, Mr. President.
Certainly. Thank you, Ms. Gilbert. Mr. Dayhoff.
Ms. Gilbert, did you want to mention veterans in the pen?
You can go ahead.
I'm done. It's all yours.
Tomorrow is National Vietnam War Veterans Day. And it's a day in which we set aside to pay our respects to my friends and colleagues who didn't come back. And out of respect for that, the Veterans Independence Project is going to have a program tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock. And is it going to be over at?
It will be at the Carroll Street location.
Okay.
And most of it,
Go
the
ahead.
plan, depending on how many people, is that it'll be inside because it's supposed to be extremely cold. But there also might be too many people to have it inside, so parts of it might be outside.
Okay, well, we'll play it by ear.
So that will be played by ear tomorrow morning.
I guess I wanted to get on the record, and I hope I'm not stealing Mayor Dominic's thunder. I wanted to ask about the status of annexing the Ellsworth Cemetery. I think that's a really important project and something that we really need to get accomplished. So I wanted to get that on the record to ask about the status of that. Councilwoman Ann Gilbert and I and my wife attended the annual Shepherd Staff Empty Bowls event at the Portico yesterday. Our sense of community coming together to help combat hunger is really important. And I know it's near and dear to many of my colleagues' hearts. And it was an extremely good event. It was really nice to see the community come out. And then I'm sad to announce that a prominent Maryland attorney, Tom Meacham, has passed away. Over his lifetime, he was a community servant and served on the board of directors of many nonprofits, including recently the Boys and Girls Club of Westminster. Tom was a very prominent attorney. At his funeral, it was like a who's who from all across Maryland attended the funeral. I worked with Mr. Meacham on a number of things, and I had the honor of working with his dad, Roy Meacham, who introduced me to ghostwriting speeches and ghostwriting presentations. He was a ghostwriter for LBJ's wife, Tom Meacham's dad. Lived in Carroll County. No. Thank you, Mr. President. That's my report.
Thank you. I just wanted to mention one thing. We had some conversation some weeks ago informally, not in a regular meeting, about our friends in Paida, Estonia. We have a sister city relationship with Paida, Estonia, and it's been a few years since we've seen those folks. I think 4 years ago in 2018, the previous mayor there and a couple of the other city officials visited Westminster. I know there were some plans for a visit in 2020, a little cultural exchange, but the pandemic, made that difficult to do and impossible to do. The mayor and I talked about it subsequently, and we decided to reach out just to say that we wanted to check in on them. We with all the turmoil in that part of the world, and in the spirit of the sister cities relationship, which was created in the aftermath of the fall of the Soviet Union to develop democratic ties between places in America and communities in former Soviet Union republics. So we established a relationship with Paida. So reached out to them, received a nice letter back from them to the mayor and myself. Greetings from the heart of Estonia, from Paida. Yes, it's been for a while that we had contacts between our cities. COVID came and our planned activities had to be postponed. We look forward to continuing and strengthening the successful cooperation and the friendly relations between our municipalities. We have only the warmest words to say about Thomas Bayard. He has been a very loyal friend, and we hope we find more close contacts with you from our sister city. Times are tough in Europe, and friendship is always what supports and helps in difficult times. Hope to have close contacts with you soon. And it was signed by the mayor, Suret Pilagas, the mayor of Paida. So we will continue to follow up, and I understand that they would like to do another visit, and they would like to invite some of us to come visit them. So we'll see what the future holds on that, and what additional cultural exchanges are possible going forward. And that's all I had. Thank you. Unfinished business, there is no unfinished business of which I'm aware. Does anybody have any unfinished business? Hearing none, we'll move on to new business. We have one item of new business, approval of change order number 1 for the Westminster Wwtp ENR and Biosolids upgrade project. Mr. Glass.
Yes, sir. The construction management contract for the ENR upgrade includes a cash allowance to cover costs for material testing, special inspections, and inspection overtime. The initial allowance was $420,000, of which MDE participates proportionately for the state's agreed upon share. That's 56, a little more than 56%. But early on, and I'm sure you'll recall, during construction of the denitrification facility, an unstable subgrade was encountered due to sinkholes in that building's footprint. There was considerable drilling and grouting and geotechnical work, along with extensive materials testing. All was necessary for the stabilization of the subgrade of this building's foundation. And unfortunately, that exhausted all of those allowance funds. We do have one remaining excavation for the installation of a reactor number 5, which preliminary subsurface testing has indicated a similar unsuitable subgrade condition. Of course, we won't know that until we get there, but all indications are that it will be very similar. Additional material testing and geotechnical work will be required for this reactor, and of course necessitates the replenishment of this cash allowance to some degree. In addition, there is an overtime inspection services included in the cash allowance as well. And over the course of the project, the contractor, HRI, has requested to work beyond 40 hours per week, resulting in overtime costs for the GHD inspectors. HRI reimburses the city for those inspection costs and has done so throughout a number of monthly pay applications in the form of change order deducts. Accordingly, it's anticipated that additional inspector overtime will be requested due to HRI's current completion schedule. So the GHD, our construction management team, estimates the remaining testing services to be in the $110,000 range based on the trends of previous testing. The need for geotechnical investigations for reactor 5 is estimated to be in the $75,000 range, and the inspection overtime is estimated to be in the $20,000 range for a total budget replenishment cost of $205,000. It should be understood that this amount is for budget purposes and only actual costs will be deducted as they are incurred. And it should also be understood that the actual expenditures will be cost shared with MDE as well as per our existing ENR agreement. So at this point, staff recommends that the Common Council authorize the mayor to approve change order number 1 for replenishment of the cash allowance portion of the ENR contract for material testing, special inspections, and overtime services in the amount of up to $205,000 to the city's construction management contract with GHD. Happy to answer any questions if you have any.
All right, thank you, Mr. Glass. Are there any questions for Mr. Glass? Actually, before we do that, let's get a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. So motion to approve change order number 1 by Mr. Dayhoff. Is there a second?
Second.
A second by Ms. Gilbert. Now, somebody have a question?
Mr. President, I do.
Mr. Kavachi.
So, Mr. Glass, I just want to make sure that I'm clear. 56% of this 205, if it's used, we will get that back from the state. That's for sure.
That's correct.
And they don't have to go through any type of approval process on their end like this. It's a lock.
So it's consistent with the agreement. It will have to go through an approval process, but that's every change order that'll go through the approval process. So I hate to say 100% sure, but I'm 99.459% that it's.
And so I don't know if this is maybe more Ms. Emholz than you, since she's our acting finance director at this moment, sort of. It's just going to come out of water and sewer funds or operating budget or
Mr. Glass can answer that.
again? Okay.
It must be sewer funds.
Okay. So it's only sewer funds this will come out of.
That's correct.
Okay. That's all I have, Mr. President.
All right, thank you, Mr. Kavachi. I was going to ask something along those lines, so appreciate you doing that. Anybody else have any questions or any comments?
Mr. President,
Discussion, Mr. Dayhoff.
didn't we do a change order when we found the substandard soils under the denitrification plan?
So that was with HRI, the contractor themselves,
Yeah. Okay.
but this is for the material testing that.
Oh, this is for the testing.
And for the construction management firm to.
If we don't find substandard soils under that, I'm going to be really surprised. Yeah, I'm going to be really surprised. Okay. I get it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. President.
Anyone else? All right, hearing no further discussion. Take it you're ready for the vote. All those in favor of approving change order number 1, please say aye.
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 Those opposed say nay. The ayes seem to have it, and the ayes have it, and the change order is approved. Thank you, Mr. Claff. Now we'll move on to departmental reports. For that, we'll turn to our city administrator, Ms. Impels.
Thank you, sir. Is there a report from the fire department?
No, ma'am. Thank you.
In the newsletter that goes out in the water bills, we have been advertising folks to submit their resumes online if they're interested in participating in the various boards and commissions that we have. So we're going to start tonight with the planning department to get an update for a couple of those boards and commissions.
Okay, on Tuesday, April 5th, the Board of Zoning Appeals is scheduled to hear case 22-1, a special exception application to operate a contractor's equipment and storage yard at property located at Magna Way. Case 22-3, a special exception application to operate a home occupation massage therapist use at 329 Meadow Creek Drive. And case 22-4, a minimum front yard setback variance from requirement of 30 feet in order to allow the existing house from redevelopment of the front porch to be 4 feet 2 inches from the property line at 29 West Washington Road. I think we're all familiar with that property. It's pretty dilapidated. Somebody did purchase it and is improving it. So this will make it a legal structure versus a non-conforming or a non-compliant structure. On Wednesday, April 6th, the Historic District Commission is scheduled to discuss contents of a historic structures report, Flower and Jazz Festival participation, and National History Day. And as always, the Winters Farmer Market is open on Saturdays. We did extend it one more week to April 16th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. and is located at 29 West Main Street. And that completes my report.
Are there any questions for Mr. Depot? Hearing none, we are going to move on to the Recreation Department to get an update on the Durbin House and some upcoming events.
Yes, good evening. On Thursday of last week, we held a mandatory pre-bid meeting for exterior renovations to the Durbin House. If you remember, this is an MHAA grant funded project. It will allow us to seal the building envelope, do some moisture mitigation. As Councilwoman Gilbert indicated, we'll be doing some work in the crawl space, excavating some dirt out of there, pouring some concrete, making it a little more hospitable, repairing some termite damage that has happened over many, many years, and just making the structure sound. So we did have a brisk turnout for that pre-bid meeting with about 12 interested contractors.
Wow.
And we did conclude with a site visit to the Durbin House so they could actually see the structure. We have been receiving questions back as well on the request for bids. So we do anticipate that we'll have a competitive bid response for that project. And we're excited to be getting that underway as quickly as possible.
Okay.
So in addition to that, the phase 2 of the locker room renovation project is underway. This is the countertop replacement, new sink basins, restroom partitions, and back-ordered lockers. So the countertops are complete and the restroom partitions have been installed. We're working through some punch list items with that particular project. And we are still awaiting the lockers' arrival, which looks like it won't be until January or July. Oh my goodness, January, that would be a nightmare, July. And then with that, your Recreation and Parks Department has been busy stuffing over 20,000 plastic Easter eggs for our
20,000.
Yes, 20,000 for our egg sighting bunny trail and Easter event scheduled for next Saturday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Wakefield Valley Golf Course. Children will be able to engage in a traditional egg hunt, kids 1 to 4 at 10:30, kids 5 to 8 at 11:30. They will also have the opportunity to embark on a carefully crafted spring-themed trail where as they go along and participate in different activities, they'll win prizes, which at the end will build a cute little bunny garden. And then we'll also have another trail, which will be an Easter trivia trail that they can participate in. And the 4-H Rabbit and Cavy Club will be there with their bunny petting zoo. So we're looking forward to a hopefully great weather and a fun-filled family day. Our posting on Facebook seems to be getting a lot of attention. Over 13,000 people have seen it and 700 people have indicated that they're interested in attending. And we have found that those numbers are pretty true to what actually shows up to these events. So we're looking forward to putting that out there next Saturday. And everybody cross your fingers for a break in the weather for our second event for the season. And that concludes my report unless there are questions.
Ms. Gruber, when you say next Saturday, you mean this coming Saturday or the Saturday after that?
Saturday after that.
Okay.
Next Saturday.
Because I think you'd be disappointed if you're going to do this.
Yes, I think it's April 9th is the
Okay.
date. I should have just
It is
used that.
April 9th.
Yes, April 9th.
Are there any questions for the Recreation Department? We're gonna scoot on over to Zoom where we've got the Housing Director up. Mr. Brown, do you have any reports for the council today?
I have no reports.
Are there any questions for Mr. Brown?
No.
Ms. McCullough with HR, she should be on Zoom.
No report this evening for the HR department.
Are there any questions from council for HR? No. Okay, we are gonna move over. I want to take a moment to thank the police department. They are always working to keep the city safe, but last week we were able to see some of those efforts, visually see some of those efforts. So I want to take a moment to thank the whole department for all of their efforts last week and ongoing, and let the chief give us an update on public safety.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Just to pick up where Councilman Kavachi left off. The sheriff and I went down to the Special Olympics police polar plunge, which is the day before the general one. And we traveled down with the Carroll County Sheriff's Office Police Academy class, in which we have 2 police recruits. So I'm excited to say that they will graduate this Friday. They started in early September. I know they're eager to get out and start field training and then get out on their own. So that'll be police recruit Ray and Hall. So they're getting sworn in Friday. We also have a certified Maryland police officer, William Rojas, who starts with us also this week. And he brings multiple years of municipal police experience, and he is also bilingual. We're looking forward to getting Officer Rojas on the road. And on April 4th, Officer Lucas Eli returns from his National Guard, which was a COVID-related local operational deployment. So he'll return to us and get back out on the street on April the 4th. And that's all I have, unless you have any questions.
Are there any questions for the chief? Hearing none, we're going to move over to the Public Works Department. They have been very busy this spring. So Mr. Blass, can you give us an update?
Nothing to include more than Councilman Kavachi had already spoken of today. So unless there are questions.
We need to pre-treat the roads.
Will you knock it off?
I'm done. I'm done with
What
it.
he said.
Yeah.
But he told me to knock it off.
We are about
Sorry,
to,
Madam Mayor.
we are about to begin engineering on the clock tower so that we'll
good.
be able to
Okay.
utilize the
Excellent.
state's funds when
Excellent.
they become available at the beginning of the fiscal year.
Perfect.
So I want to thank the Public Works Department for their efforts in getting that together. Councilmember Hoff, did you have a question?
No. That was just my fingers crossed.
Oh, fingers
for
crossed.
That money to come all the way through.
If and when, correct, yes. And we also want to thank, to help get that contract together, our city attorney, who has brought with her a guest. This is Karen Ruff. Do you like to take over here? Karen and I worked together as well a long time ago, right, at this point?
Yeah, so I had mentioned to all of you that on Monday, Karen and I will be opening our doors on our new firm.
Awesome.
Our address will be in Annapolis, although either one of us will actually be in that office. But certainly if you'd like to see it, we have access to that. As you know, I practiced with Karen for a long, long time. Was practicing with her when we first came to you all.
That's right.
And I am really, really thrilled to be able to resume that relationship. And we're looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Mr. President, if you would indulge me for a minute, I just wanted to reference the fact that when I was back on BZA in the day, that Ms. Ruff was our BZA attorney. And she had the pleasure, as I did, of serving in an infamous case regarding a church that went on, I think, 3 different nights, if I remember, Karen. She's very good to work with.
Thank you. So yes, we've worked with Ms. Ruff for many years now. It's back in the early days when Ms. Levan was appointed a city attorney, and it's great to see you again. And looking forward to your new partnership. Very good.
I just wanted to say finally that, again, I want to thank the mayor and council for having me on board. I've been here now for 6 months. It has been a really incredible 6 months. I'm incredibly proud to be serving this community. And I can't help but notice how many strong women we have working in this government. It is a bit of an unknown in my field. Only 13% of the city managers in this country are women. That number has remained unchanged since 1980. When they started measuring it. But in this city, there's 100% history of hiring female managers. We currently have a female mayor. And as you see, we have our entire attorney staff is made up of women as well. So we appreciate all of the efforts of the men in our groups as well. That concludes the departmental reports.
Thank you, Ms. Imholzberg. We're truly blessed and we appreciate the fact that all the women put up with the men that are here.
Carry us, she said.
Said, put up.
Carry the men.
Put up with carry us too, very frequently. The final item on our agenda tonight is citizens' comments, when we invite the public to address the mayor and council on any issues pertaining to tonight's agenda or any other city issues. Let me remind everyone that this is an opportunity for the public to share their thoughts and concerns, not exchange in a debate or answer questions. For citizens not attending the public meeting, we invite you to send us your comments or concerns via email at comments@westminstermarylandmd.gov. All comments received by email will be shared with the mayor and council. Commenters who write to us should include their address and phone number with their comments. Now, is there anyone with us tonight who wishes to be heard? Please give us your name and address for the record. So, yes, ma'am.
I'm Christy Newman. I live on Blue Fall Court. I back up to the Wakefield Valley property. And recently my children wanted to get chickens, and we found out that inside the city limits, you're not allowed to have chickens. And we have a half-acre property. We have tons of wildlife coming in our yard all the time. So it just seems illogical to me that we can't have a few little backyard chickens when we've got geese and blue herons and ducks and all sorts of things, and a big enough yard. And we've done it before in other places that we've lived. We're government employees, so we've moved around quite a bit. And like, I was shocked when I saw, and I'm wondering if maybe that policy was written when the city was just like row homes in town or something. And now it's including these neighborhoods with bigger properties that have more of a rural feel. So I've given you a letter and some information, but I mean, even when we lived in England, the schoolyard had a garden and chickens, and it's just like good practices, in my opinion, to have your kids raise chickens and have some eggs and have a garden and learn how to do things for yourself, especially in the state the world's in today. And, issues come up, and it's nice to, we can't get everything on our own, but to do what we can to have fruit trees and, various things. And so I was hoping that we could change that policy, because all the surrounding counties and cities and stuff allow it. Even Baltimore City allows it. Of course, you can have rules about how many feet from a house or neighboring property or, or such. But I think it hasn't been particularly addressed by Carroll County. But we're a farming community, and I know, like, when I brought it up on the community Facebook page, most people were like, yeah. Or some people were like, shh, just don't say anything, and you can just have chickens. And I'd rather do things properly, than have my kids get really invested, and then, someone say something, and then you end up in all this, trouble. And so that's my.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Take that under advisement. Thank you for the letter. Anyone else here wish to be heard tonight? All right. In that case, then that concludes our agenda and the meeting. Our next regular meeting will be on April. Today.
April 11th.
April 11th. Thank you. Next meeting will be Monday, April 11th. And with that, without objection, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Police Academy is going to close down.